Hey, Beachbody Champions page. It's Nikki from Nebraska. I'm excited to be here with you today and take action together. We are going to work, so I want you to grab your business activity tracker or whatever kind of pen and paper you're going to be using because you've got to track. So while you grab those things, I'll just briefly share my story. I rewind 10 years ago. I had a daycare in our home, working 50 hours a week and constantly just pouring from an empty cup. I was giving everything I had to my daycare kids, and what little I did have left, I was giving to my husband and my daughter. I knew something had to change, and it was a pirated copy of P90X, believe it or not. And so going through that journey wasn't necessarily about weight loss. My story is really about just like a confidence boost and tackling something really tough that I didn't imagine that I could do, and the feeling of accomplishment and the purpose that I got from doing that. So after about 4 rounds of P90X, I decided to go to the website and actually purchase a program, DVDs, and found the coaching opportunity. And it was perfect for me because I was already telling everyone I knew they needed to do P90X. So instead of just being that crazy girl telling people to work out, I was a part of something bigger. It made me feel legit and that community that I didn't know that I needed. So the coach that I signed up with turned out to not work the business. And so I've now been adopted by Robert and Melissa Hudgens Fit Legacy Family team, and growing my own team, Rev Empire, as well. So happy to be here representing those teams, and should have given you plenty of time to get those tools, your business activity tracker and your or your pen and paper, whatever it is. You've got to track. You cannot improve what you don't track. And you don't know what to do if you don't know what you've done. And you're going to get so much more feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction and feel like you're moving in the right direction by documenting what you're doing. And you're also not going to lose people that way. So I use the standard business activity tracker, and I also print out that second page to track my invites. So I hope you're using those, and if not, then if you are using your pen and paper, that works too. So we are going to work from a timer, and we're going to start with the section 2, the connect, invite, and follow up. We're actually going to start with adding people to your network. You cannot invite people if you aren't adding people, and you can't be inviting, you can't be sharing if if you're not talking to anyone. So you've got to constantly be growing your network. And I do that on Facebook and Instagram. And this really does not take much time. Don't overthink it. Just go out and be social and connect with people. So we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and I'll just briefly share. I spend just a little time on Facebook. I send out about 10 Facebook requests, and I first start with suggested friends. Maybe that's not your method, but that's what I do. And I see if I have mutual friends with them. If I have mutual coach friends with them, I don't add them. But if I have 5 or more friends with them, I'm going to add them. I will also then go to a friends list and see if those are any people that I know or that they just look like my people, and I will add them. Then on Instagram, I will go to an account that I follow, ideally an account, a blogger that has 10,000 or more followers. Could be from a product, a blogger I like, just some account that I like, that I vibe with, and I will go to their first picture, and we'll just start adding 50 people who liked that picture, because I want to be adding people who are actually using Instagram. So that's my method. So we are going to do that. I'm going to set the timer right now. Like I said, we're going to spend 5 minutes on this, and then we're going to spend 15 minutes connecting in that first section of your business activity tracker. So I'm going to start the timer, 5 minutes, go add people. All right, you just have just over a minute left. I want you to not overthink this. Just people who look to be your people. You're not going to now send them an invite or anything. You're just going to connect with them. And so you may find later on that these aren't people who you're going to connect with, and that's okay. You can choose to unfollow them, unfriend them, but you don't know until you start that connection with them. So don't overthink it. Also, it might be hard initially if you don't already have a blog or a person who you follow on Instagram. So you can pause the video if you're watching the recording and really go find somebody who you connect with, because if you connect with that bigger account, you're likely to connect with those followers as well. All right, our time is up for that one. We are going to move on to connect. We're going to spend 15 minutes connecting. And this one, I've heard a lot of times people say, like, I have a really hard time with this. And it's kind of silly because this is one of the easiest things to do. Social media is about being social, so you need to go connect with people. And there's tons of ways of doing this. So really find whichever one brings you joy, because if you're not enjoying this, you're not going to connect with people. If it feels forced, they're going to feel the insincerity of your message. So one of the ways that I like to do this is on Facebook. I type in birthdays and it'll tell me all the birthdays that are today. So you could either send them a message, you could do a voice message. What I like to do actually is send people, I look a day ahead, and so everybody who has a birthday tomorrow, I send them a little message today, and I just say, hey, wanted to wish you a happy early birthday, hope you have a great day tomorrow, what are your plans? Something like that. So it's a voice message, people love that, a lot of people don't ever get them. I'm ahead of the game by not flooding their inbox on the day of their birthday, but doing it a day ahead of time, and then I'm asking a question, opening up conversation. So I've gotten a lot of response from that, and even if people don't reply, it's just something I really love. It brings me joy, and like I said, that's really important. So other people that you're going to connect with are people who reply to comment on your posts, and you always section down here at the bottom of your business activity tracker, but I included in this because I want to be active with the people who are active on my account. So commenting to those posts, and then in addition to that, you can, if somebody is regularly commenting on your things, you can go to their profile and comment on their things, reply to their posts, watch their story, send them an instant message about something. And then you can also just go right to your followers, either on Facebook or Instagram, click who's following you, and just go down the line, click on their profile, see if there's something that you can compliment them on or ask a question about. We like to, on our team, talk about spreading joy in this time. And really, if you can offer value to somebody, just compliment them, and ideally ask a question, be authentic, and be social. Don't copy and paste a message for somebody just to get those connections out, because again, it's not going to be felt that way. I am going to, in the comments, give you some ideas of things that you can say. I hesitate doing that often because people will just copy and paste it, and that's not authentic. It's a waste of your time. People aren't going to receive and aren't going to connect with you if they feel that copy and paste message. But these are my words, something that I share. They're general. I always tailor them to the specific person and try to get as specific as I can. Like I said, photographer in the one message, and then people who are watching my story, often I will send them sort of a more general message, just asking what they want to see more of. So that way I'm providing value to my followers and engaging with them in a personal way. So during this process, it's also a good time to unfollow people who you followed in the days before that aren't your tribe, aren't your people, aren't your vibe, because you want to connect with people like you, so there's no reason to follow those people. Another way you can connect with people is search a hashtag of something that you like. And then, you've probably heard that 3-2-1 method of like 3 posts, comment on 2, and send them a direct message. Totally fine. Whatever way you want to do it, I don't get real rigid on it. I just go interact with people. So let's do that. Let's spend 15 minutes connecting with people, Facebook, Instagram. I've shared all the ways. I've given you some ideas. Let's do it. We're about halfway done. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. Okay, we have just over 5 minutes left. Hopefully you've gotten at least 5 connections, hopefully. I'm not sure how many I've gotten. I'm busy working. I hope you are too. You've got 3 minutes left. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. Just a little tip I wanted to share. I do a lot from my phone, but if I want to message somebody directly, like for Instagram, if you message someone from the post, you can send the post right to their inbox. And Facebook, you can't do that from your phone, but you can do it from the computer. So somebody liked, just an example, somebody liked this photo of this Rubik's Cube that I shared the other day. And I wanted to ask this person, like, so can you actually solve this? Because I'm still struggling with it. So it's just a way to have a conversation, and then that person knows that I'm referring to that post. We have just over a minute left. Definitely get in at least one more connection. And again, just making sure all your comments are getting a reply. All right, we're done with connecting. Now we're going to talk about social media. Like I said before, social media posts are crucial because you can't invite people if you're not telling people what you're doing. So I like to, we're going to spend 10 minutes on this. So you can do a couple of things with this 10 minutes. You can either write out a post, or you can make a post, or you can plan your month. And to out you can just use a regular calendar too. This does not have to be set in stone, but just like planning your meals for the week, it's just so much easier, less stressful when you start the week with a plan. And also, if you're really serious about growing your business, you've got to plan things out so that you know what you're talking about to invite people to. So the first thing to think about when you are getting a game plan for social media is, what 5 things are you all about? Are you super passionate about? Could you talk forever about? Could you add value with to people about? So think about those things. And some things that I'm all about, just for some examples, I'm all about positivity and seeing the silver lining, and I share a lot about that. I share about reading. I'm committed to dating my spouse, so I talk a lot about my marriage, my spouse. I shouldn't say a lot, but I focus on that, and while it might not be a picture of he and I still focus on that. Parenting, being the mom of a tween. I used to post a lot about camping and being outdoors, but with the weather changing, that's kind of shifted now into my daughter's obsessed with trying different hairstyles. So we will be doing different hairstyles, and I will be sharing them mostly in my stories, but different things like that. And another thing I'm really passionate about is volunteering. So I talk a lot about what's happening in the community. I'm part of the Fine Arts Booster Club. So I will be sharing different things that we have happening in the community. Just another way to add value to people by sharing what's going on, show who you are and what you're interested in by sharing those things. Keep in mind that as your life changes, your 5 things may change and evolve, and as with the seasons, like I talked about with the summer things. So keep that in mind when you are getting a game plan for the month. So the second thing to think about is plan out your month. When are your challenge groups going to be starting? When are you doing a sneak peek at coaching? Those type of things. Put those on the calendar, or maybe you're just going to be doing what your upline does. I totally agree with that. But start breadcrumbing those things 2 weeks before. And so put that on your calendar and then make a list of all the things about that topic that you want to share. So think about not only I'm starting a 21-day fix group on December 16th. That's not what we want to say. We want to talk about how we are excited to be starting another round of this, or not maybe say another round, but committing to 21 days of bettering ourselves, what it's done for us in the past, or what we're excited about committing to this will do for us because of other people who have done it, or because whatever you're going to get out of it. So think, before you do that, think, how has this changed my life? In what way has this made my life better? What problem did it solve? What objections did I have before starting this? And make posts around that. So if you're talking about maybe bar blend, maybe you had the objection of you love bar, but classes were too far away, or classes were too expensive, or maybe you're excited for a low impact option. Maybe you're talking about the positivity of it. So you're talking about all the things that bar has to offer without saying, I'm starting bar blend on December 16th, because that's just going to look as like an advertisement. So really use words that people can connect with and relate to, because you're going to get a much better response with those posts versus, talking about challenge groups and Shakeology and recover, and they don't know what you're talking about. So use words that people are going to relate to, and then you're not going to be seen as an ad. So take a moment now to, like I said, either make a post or plan out your posts. And actually that also goes into the category about your stories. So I'll briefly share about stories, and if you are the type of person, I'm not, that can type and listen at the same time, go ahead and get started on your post. But I want to briefly talk about stories. And your business activity tracker really has a great guide for what things to be talking about in your story. But I want to just briefly touch on how I do my stories, basically. And so you really, again, have to think of those things that you're all about, because your stories are really just magnified posts, right? Like a fine print of what that post was about. So be thinking of those things that you're all about and be talking and sharing about those things. If you struggle with getting started on how to share, think about something that you're already doing in your day. So for me, my day always starts with my morning routine, writing out my affirmations, my gratitude journal. And so I'm always sharing that. And then that is offering value to people, because hopefully I'm being a positive influence on them, and then also just sharing about me. Take them through your day. If you don't start your day with affirmations, maybe it's making your coffee, maybe it's packing lunches, or maybe it's waiting in the carpool line. You can just take a selfie or share what's on your mind, or something like that. And Chalene Johnson just recently did a really great piece on some Instagram story advice, and one of her things was always make sure you're talking to the camera, ideally without a filter, because we want to show our true selves and help people connect. I've gotten a lot of messages saying, I feel like I know you. One invite that I sent out fairly cold, she said, I've thought about it. I just feel like I know you by what you're sharing, and that's exactly what I want to hear. So how can you connect with people? How can you offer value and educate them on things that you are learning, or tips that you have found helpful? Is a great way to add value to people and offer connection, using all those polls and slides and all those different ways for people to interact with you, because it's much easier for them to just tap something rather than send a message. That takes time, and it's kind of opening up to you that maybe they aren't necessarily ready. So what interests you, whatever you find interesting, whatever you find yourself watching in someone else's story, those are ideas on what you can share. So like the business activity tracker says, share your daily life. I've covered those things. Your workout clips, I like to share no more than 3 moves a day, because that might not be super interesting to somebody. And I'm always addressing an objection, or just sharing my personal thoughts of the workout, not necessarily this is the workout that I'm doing, 21-day fix all over it or whatever, but what I'm getting from it, what I struggled with in the workout, something that people can relate to in that, so that they can hopefully see themselves working out with me virtually. Then I usually do a poll afterwards for the workout after my workout clips of, you know, a call to action, inviting, hopefully then also like addressing an objection in that, or just making it really simple for them, not causing them to overthink, not commit by sign me up or something like that, but just kind of an easy one, a soft click, if you will. Then of course I'm sharing, like it says, be a product of the product, not sharing my Shakeology shaker cup, but instead talking about this healthy frappe that I drink every day and what it does for me. So I'm piquing curiosity, telling them why I drink it or why I use it, what it does for me, not just drinking my shake, because that doesn't really open the conversation for anything. Share a healthy meal or prep. I usually share a photo of my plate, what's on my plate today. Sometimes that can be used as an interaction thing, or just even if it's the same thing over and over again, I can just talk about how I'm a creature of habit and how easy it is. Those are ideas you could do. And then also really important to be recognizing people in your group. And even if you don't have a lot of challengers sharing their before and after pictures, you can be talking about great job for Sarah, who showed up 5 days this week, or shout out to Kelly for eating carrots instead of chips, or whatever the case is. Just something simple, because that's showing your followers that you are helping people. It's helping your challengers get that encouragement, and hopefully they feel like excited that you're honoring them in your stories. So that is your posting and stories guidance, if you will. And now we're going to spend 10 minutes either crafting a post for later today if you've already posted, maybe planning out your month, maybe it's time to update your stories. And remember, in your stories too, you can take photos and save that and post them later, and you can even timestamp them. So don't feel like you have to, if you have a lot going on at one point in your day, you can spread that out. Here we go, 10 minutes of crafting a post or updating your stories. All right, you have just a few minutes left to do this. And again, if you're saving a post for later, you can queue it up in Instagram or Facebook. You just type it up, put the photo there, and then hit cancel, and it'll say save as draft. In Instagram, I think you can, I don't know, maybe 12 or so. So that's a really great tool for if you have something in mind you just posted and you want to spread out your posts, you can use that feature. Another idea would be typing up posts in your notepad and then maybe waiting until you have that photo that you wanted to share, or if it's a certain day. And like I said before, really planning backwards from when you're going to be hosting an event like a coach webinar or a boot camp start date or whatever. So working back from there, and then you're sure to have enough time to get people started or get them the information about it. Just another tip about my planning out my month. I will, like I said, mark the start date of things, and then in blue I will be writing out my business posts, and then another color I will write out my life posts so that I'm sure not to be too heavy on one thing or the other. And this also helps me make sure I'm touching on all those 5 things that I'm about and all those areas of my life that has changed that I want to share about in my posts as well. All right, so we have 1 more minute here, and that was kind of a long time. So just as a refresher, posting, queuing up posts to be posting later, updating your stories, those are all things, and planning out your month. Those are all things to be doing during this time. We're just kind of whatever. Next, we're going to be inviting. All right, there we are, done with our social media posts, stories, work. Now we are going to, we've covered the initiate connections and followers. We've made a social media post, updated our stories, and then also there's that piece right there that says respond to all new likes, comments, or views, and that says 25 minutes. I connect, or I lump that with the initiating connections and following up. So, or messaging people who like your Instagram account or whatever, follow it. So next we've got invite people and then follow up. And we have 15 minutes for each of those things. And so who to invite is always a big question. And I do have some ideas, and I've put in the comments. So again, don't copy and paste these things, use them as a guide. I'm really the type of person, the reason I'm sharing these is I'm really the type of person of, like, I'm a visual person. I like to see it and it really makes sense for me. So if you're that type of person, use those, but again, only use them as a guide. Really make them your own, because they're not going to be felt as authentic and you're not going to get a good result from it. So super important that when we are inviting, we are using some form of tracking for who you invite, because you don't want to lose people. So like I said, I use the second piece of the business activity tracker system, and I just write down the names of the people who I invite. I highlight them if they've asked for more information or need a follow-up. That way my follow-ups are super easy. I just go back through and click on or message the people who are highlighted. So who to invite would be, if you're just starting out, or I mean, just really anybody, those people who you care about, who are closest to you, your friends, family, coworkers, people who you want in your life for a long time. You want them to have, to be living a full life, so you want to be inviting those people. Also be thinking about people who you know would love this, whether that be our fitness and nutrition solutions or the coaching opportunity? Who do you know that would love this? And those are obviously people who you're going to invite. Also, people who are liking or commenting on any of your posts, your fitness or your business posts, people who watch your stories, people who view your polls. So even if they don't click on your poll, I still recommend messaging them. They're probably just too nervous to. So just by you initiating that conversation. Also, just people who are always watching your stories. If you see, I have some people who I can just tell the first 3 people who watch my stories are, and they're going to get an invite from me every so often because there's a reason they're following me. They're probably just too something. There's probably an objection for them getting started. So the more I talk with them, hopefully the easier it'll be for them to overcome that. You also want to then follow up, I guess, reconnect, re-invite people who told you no in the past. No, not right now. It's not a good time. Those are people who you want to invite every so often as well, depending on the situation. But really important that you're taking notes on them and tracking them so that you know who to invite and who to follow up with. So we are going to spend 15 minutes inviting, and then we're going to spend 15 minutes following up. So I don't really have a lot more to share about this. I'll share my follow-ups also in the comments. But we are going on 50 minutes here, and so I know we wanted to keep it more like an hour. So I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes, and maybe we'll just do your follow-ups on your own, because follow-ups are super self-explanatory. People who you've invited, and I've given some ideas in the comments for people, or how to follow up with people. So let's spend some time inviting, and you've got to track. So super important that you track, whether you write the name down as you invite, or you're going to send invites for 15 minutes and then go back and track them in a system. Let's get to work. 15 minutes. Inviting. I'm going to invite people who have liked my fitness posts. All right, we are about halfway done. So if you are struggling with who to invite, you can use this time to really connect more with people, because oftentimes I will hear from coaches, I don't have anybody to invite. And this is really an alchemy. If you are not sharing what, first of all, it starts with you. If you're not committing to a program, it starts there. If you're not sharing about the you've got to be sharing about the product program, sharing your personal experience with it so people know what you're doing. You've got to be adding it to your network so that you are continually getting new people watching what you're doing so that you have new people to invite. So again, if you're at the point where you feel like you don't have anybody to invite, really dig into all those things that I was talking about, as far as who's watching your stories, who's looking at your posts. And keep in mind that just because you're not getting likes on your photos doesn't mean that people aren't watching, because they are watching. Most of the time they are just too lazy or too nervous to click like or give you a comment. So start there, and then anyone who you have been connecting with recently, not related to health and fitness, just hopefully you've just been connecting with people. If those conversations don't lead to fitness organically, you can just say, hey, you know, I've really, it's been great connecting with you. I feel like we have a lot in common, or something like that. Or, you know, you mentioned this, touch on a specific subject or need or pain point, and then invite them into your challenge group that you have starting on X date. So those, having a group starting a specific group will really cause a sense of urgency, rather than just saying, hey, can I help you with this? Or hey, I'd love to have you join me in this. Those things work too, but if you're not getting a good response from those, make sure that you are planning out your month and having a set date, and always working with another coach or upline to really make it easier, work together. So people who are commenting, liking on your fitness posts, and if you haven't made a recent one, then spend this time making that post, so then tomorrow you can invite from people who are interacting with that post. If you haven't already, those people closest to you, who you care about, your coworkers, your friends, people who are constantly watching your story or giving you love on your posts, those are all people that you need to be inviting, because the fear of inviting comes when we forget that we have had our lives drastically changed by this opportunity, by these tools. So if you're in that headspace of, I don't have anyone to invite, I can't invite, nobody wants to follow me, I don't have anything to offer people, put your phone down, step away from your computer, and take a moment to either journal or just reflect on how your life is different now. And if those words, my life has changed, if that's kind of like too much for you, because it has been for me in the past, although it is true, take a moment to really see what changes have made in my life. How is my life different now? And those are where your posts and your invites are going to come from. We are just people sharing our experiences, and inviting people to learn more about what we do and join us in this. So hopefully that helps, some thoughts around inviting. And then of course too, I have some sample invites in the comments. All right, so there is our 15 minutes of inviting. Please track, use the second sheet of the business activity tracker, your pen and paper. If you use Streak or whatever online service you use, you've got to track. These next 15 minutes, I'm actually going to end the live video now, but for 15 minutes, go back and follow up. If you don't have anybody to follow up with today because you haven't been inviting, then spend time inviting more people, or again, working on your social media plan so that you are telling people what you are doing so that you have people to invite. So I hope this has proved to be useful for you. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and I'm happy to help. And again, the scripts, the messages that I've been sharing, I left in the comments, but I don't want you to just copy and paste them because those will not be felt as authentic and you will not get a positive response. They really need to be your words. So you can use those for ideas to make your own, but I want you to be successful, and that means coming up with your own authentic words. So thanks for joining in. Hope this was helpful. We'll see you next time.